So in chapter 3 of Misty Runs and Runs and Runs, in the last chapter she just crashed headlong, ran herself wide open into what's got to appear like a 40-foot tall fence wall to anybody, to a horse, let alone anyways. I'd switched by this time from Misty's really nice show quality saddle. I was using what we called the work saddle on the farm, some old thing, I don't know where it came from. No amount of saddle soap would soften it up. It was like riding a plank. But I'd switched to it because the saddle, or the stirrups and stirrup guards, is that what they're called on a saddle? I forget now. We're starting to show as I careened, or Misty careened, into everything on the farm. So, I don't know, a few days or a week or something had gone by from the incident at the park where Misty ran wide open into the fence. I'm still getting nowhere. So Dad comes hasting in for dinner one night, and he plunks down on the counter a contraption, it looks like a bridle. So we have dinner, I get up, I go over, I look at this thing and it's a bosal. It doesn't have a bit. I'd never seen one. A bosal goes across their nose. There is no bit in their mouth. And I'd never seen such a thing, right? I'm looking at it, I'm going, what is this? He's going, it's a bosal. I'm going, what's a bosal? Where's the bit? There is no bit, it's a bosal. Boy, what's wrong with you? So I hung it on my head by its bosal and grabbed the hold of the reins and went careening around the kitchen, bouncing off the cupboard and the fridge and the stove. It's not working, Pa. He gets up angrily, flips it around. It goes on the horse like this, boy. Off he goes with his patented harumph. So now after dinner, the girls are there. As always, they come and they said, hey, we're going to ride across town. That's a mile. We're going to go up Church Hill, highest point in the county, straight up a big long hill, another mile. We're on the grid system in southern Ontario, 7/8 of a mile by 1 1/8 of a mile. Do you want to come with us on Misty? Oh, I got the bosal to try out. I said, okay, as long as we don't run, right? Yeah, okay. So we ride across town, and we ride all the way up to Church Hill, and we stop up on the top of Church Hill. There was a pump there, hand pump at the well. Watered the horses, let them graze under the shade trees, had a cigarette. And we go back out. Now the road's gravel, and it's 7/8 of a mile west out to number 7 highway. Lori says, well, I think we're going to run. Oh, right. Okay, well, I'll hold Misty here at the top. You guys, maybe once you're out of sight or sound or something, right? They tear off. Now the road at that time was really steep. So they tear off down through the first hollow. Oh, it's probably 100 yards up to the other side. Misty's going nuts, spinning around, spinning around, spinning around. And I thought, okay, I just run then. So she spun, aimed after the horses. I gave her head, and she tore off straight as an arrow down through the hollow. And I was like, whoa, she is every bit as fast as I ever figured she was. Man, she ran like the wind. The first girl I caught up to was Cindy. She had an old mare, Fancy. Fancy was, well, advanced middle age, let's say, in human type years. Fancy had come to us, a recalca turned old mare who was in poor shape. I got her bad habits broke. Cindy and her had bonded, and Cindy was coming along really well. She rode excellently, really interested in the horses, bright girl. And she had Fancy in good shape. All day, every day. We used to joke that it's a wonder Fancy could keep up growing hair for the amount of grooming she got, Well, anyways, I caught up to Fancy and Cindy really quick, and Cindy turned and looked. Fancy was a small horse. Misty was a big pony. So I'm down below Cindy, and she looked down and she said, oh, wow, Lori's not going to like this. Man, is she quick. I said, yeah, right. Now I'm just letting Misty run. She's just got her head down. She's in a straight line. First time she's ever ran in a straight line. Next up, I'm catching up to Rhonda on her. She had a big horse, Sky, who the only thing Sky did well was spook. I've never seen a spookier horse, and kind of miserable of nature as well. Sky's idea of a gallop was, well, I'm running now and that's all I'm going to do, right? So she's ahead of Fancy, but only by size. And same deal, Rhonda says, oh boy, Lori's not going to like this. And she yells up, hey, Lori, look at Misty. Effortlessly, we go racing past Sky. Lori looks back and sees Misty gaining rapidly, right? So she gets light and low, as we called it. She's lashing at Rocket, but Misty's, half stride for every stride almost, right? So as I'm coming up alongside Lori, I said, well, give it up, Lori. I said, I let you guys clear the first hollow and up onto the, call it a plateau, before I even gave Misty her head. So you might as well pack it in. Lori said, I'm not going to give up until you're 4 strides ahead. I said, okay. That's not going to take long. So sure enough, Misty's still running in a straight line. We blow past Rocket. Again, a half stride per stride type of thing, and I'm 4 strides ahead of Lori. Well, now I can see the highway. We're 1/8 of a mile from the highway, and I'm thinking, well, I got to rein this thing in, but she's run, 6/8 of a mile by this point in time, right? I could see as I was passing Rocket, he was beginning to flag a little bit. He was coming to the end of his, he's used himself up. So I start reining Misty in. She just keeps running. So with everything I got, I put my heels into the stirrups. I pull the reins back as far as I can. I wrap them around the saddle horn. And I reach way down and forward and get a hold of those reins. I pull her nose right into her chest. She's getting about 1/10 of the wind, the air to breathe, and she's still running. And by now she's lathered. I'm getting covered in horse sprays coming up off me, sweat, or off her onto me. She's still running. And the highway's coming fast, and I know what lies up ahead. There's 4 houses on the right-hand side of the road. Running in there into their yards, trying to turn her is not an option. The driveway's raised up with culverts, and there's some object art, lawn art out there, old pieces of equipment or something painted with flowers or whatever. On the left, the road veers off into a deep ditch full of boulders from the road work over the years. And on the corner of the highway to my left, the guy's driveway comes out, and it's recessed down. There's a wall right out to the road. And on the right, it breaks up into a hill with a page wire fence. I can't believe this thing is still running. What's it using for oxygen? Lori gets panicky, which is totally out of character for her, because by now, because I'm reining Misty, I'm not, Lori and Rocket are beginning to gain just a little bit, I'm losing the 4 strides. I'm ahead of Rocket and Lori. Now, Lori knows I'm in trouble. I only have a toe curled over the stirrup, right? Because I don't know what to do. I can't figure out what to do. I thought about, do I take the chance of running across the highway? But, you see a car flash one way, a truck the other. That seems crazy. Going into the yards, going into the ditch, I can't turn her at a dead gallop in the confines of the road. I don't know what to do. In desperation, I was thinking, well, if I can get past the big ditch and past the 4 driveways, I'll turn her up. It's a fair slope, and she'll crash headlong into the fence, and hopefully I can just leap and jump over the fence, because I don't know what else to do. Lori's screaming in panic, rodeo, rodeo, rodeo. Now, I have to explain, rodeo was a game that Lori and Rhonda would play with Randy. They'd race around the park. The kids and the parents loved it. one of the girls would yell rodeo, and Randy, again, both the little pony and the big horse at a dead gallop, he'd leap down onto Rocket or back up onto Sky. Rodeo, rodeo, rodeo. Lori's screaming in panic, rodeo, rodeo, stay in the saddle. Well, I'm not going to jump off at a dead gallop, but I really did not know what to do. I was scared. Lori's in a panic, screaming rodeo, rodeo. And I can hear she's also yelled back to Rhonda, who is yelling back to Cindy. I mean, it's a full-blown panic situation. Lori's about 2 strides back now at this point on Rocket, and we're coming up to the drives and the big ditch. And I'm yelling back to Lori. I said, no, stay back. Rocket can't take me. It would have been a move of desperation, and it would have left Misty unchecked to rodeo down onto Rocket, but I am panicking as well. I'm out of options, right? Or at least none I can see. Lori's still screaming rodeo and flailing away at Rocket, but Rocket's done. He's spent. I said, stay back. He won't take me coming down onto him. But she's panicking, rodeo, rodeo. Now, just as we got to the driveways, Misty veered to the right towards the culverts and stuff. So I let up on the right rein to get her back veering to the left again, because she is now, I couldn't believe she could stay on her feet, yet alone keep up at a dead gallop. I mean, she is like sucking air through a straw. I've got her reined in, her nose is against her chest. There's sweat and horse foam and horse snot and probably horse earwax flying back on me at this time. And I mean, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I could not perceive any options. Lori's still screaming rodeo. And just as Misty veered to the left, she led with veered to the left. As she attained the crown of the road, she led with her left front, and she collapsed like she had been shot. I hadn't envisioned that one coming. She just dropped out from under me. I couldn't believe it. I rolled off the back of the saddle, but having been caught totally by surprise by this, now Lori's screaming. Her rump, Misty's rump, as she tumbled, hit me on my hindside, and now I'm flying through the air like I'm in a chair. And I look down and I see Misty tumbling underneath me with her head turned to the right. And I looked up and I saw the ditch and the boulders. And oddly enough, my first thought was, poor Misty, because she's going to land down in the boulders. My second thought was, tree. And I'll leave the vid here.